Hi. Now we begin with the chapter 2. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. A mysterious stranger. In the darkness of February night, a stranger dressed in a white brim hat and very long coat got off a train at Bamberhurst. It was bitterly cold, but there were no carriages. The man has to carry his suitcase for several hours through a snowstorm to reach the small town of Iving. When he arrived, he went to the coach and horses inn. The people in the inn saw a dark figure stumbling. "I want a room and a fire. Quickly, please," the stranger demanded. The owner of the inn says, "I'm Mr. Ho. Please come this way." The woman showed the stranger to his room. She left and soon returned with some food. The room was very warm now, but the man was still wearing his hat, coat, and gloves. "I can take your coats for you," Mrs. Ho says. "No," snapped the stranger. "All right," said the woman as she left the room. In the kitchen, Mr. Ho realized he has forgotten the mustard. She took it up to the man. She knocked on the door and opened it. She stood in the doorway, stunned. The strange man had large bulky bandages around his head. All she could see was his blue glasses, a shiny pink nose, and some hair poking through the bandages. "I will take you things now, sir," she stammered. "Leave the hat," he demanded. Mr. Ho noticed that the stranger was still wearing his glove and his holding his napkin over his face. He was wearing a dark dressing gown of which he had a collar turned up high. Around his neck, he had tied a scarf. Every part of his body was completely covered. "Yes, sir," said the sop to Mrs. Ho. "He must have had a terrible accident," Mr. Ho thought. Some time later, she returned to the chase. For the chase, after eating and becoming warm, the stranger's mood had much improved, and he now said, "I left some bandages at the Bamberhurst station, Mr. Ho. Is there some way to bring it here?" "The roads are bad tonight, so my husband will get it for you in the morning." "It is too easy to have an accident in all this snow," she replied. "Yes, an accident. I too had an accident." "What kind of accident?" Mrs. Ho started to ask. "Never mind about that," said the stranger. "You only need to know that I'm a scientist and all of my equipment is in my bags. I need them all as soon as possible. I'm working on a very important experiment." Mrs. Ho laughed and thought, "He's a mysterious man." She quickly returned to the bar to tell her customers about a mysterious man. One customer, Teddy Henry, said, "Oh, I bet he's hiding from the police. He hasn't had any accident." "Who's hiding from the police?" said a voice behind him. It was Mr. Ho. "A stranger who just arrived tonight. He has bags at the station. You should take a good look at them in the morning. Want, Teddy?" "Cut it now, all of you," snapped Mrs. Ho. You're all yours own business." But Mrs. Ho was very suspicious of the stranger. The next morning, Mr. Ho brought the mysterious man's luggage to the man. Good grief, grief. How many boxes and bags does he have?" The stranger scammer started to have unload the car. At that moment, a dog came growling at the stranger man and bit his leg. Looking at his torn clothes, the man quickly went back to his room. "I'll go and see if he is all right," Mr. Ho said. He went in and found the man's door open. He was about to speak when he saw the most startling thing. The man's coat arm was waving around in the air, but there was no hand. Suddenly, Mr. Ho laughed himself, being violently pushed out of the room. Then there was a loud bang. The door slammed shut. Mr. Ho was confused. "Did I see what I think I saw?" he asked himself. By now, a small crowd has gathered. Everyone was talking about the dog attack. "He needs to be helped by Luca," said someone at the crowd. "I didn't see any blood," said another. The stranger now reappeared wearing new clothes. "Are you hurt, sir?" asked Mr. Ho. "Not at all," he replied. Eventually, all the man's luggage was taken to his room. He quickly unpacked his equipment and started to work. He worked all the morning, and at lunchtime, Mr. Ho brought him his lunch. He knocked on the door, but he didn't answer, so he just went in. However, he wasn't wearing his glasses. His eye socket was empty. "My lord," he gasped. The man, hearing her gasp, quickly put on his glasses. "You should come in without knocking," he said angrily. "But I did not," she said. "You mustn't disturb me. I have to concentrate." "Very well, sir," Mr. Ho replied. "There is a lock on the door. I suggest you use it." And Mrs. Ho laughed. For the rest of the afternoon, the man worked silently in his room. Suddenly, however, Mrs. Ho heard a sound of smashing bottle, heavy footsteps. She quickly went upstairs. She was too afraid to knock, so just listened. "This is impossible," she heard the man say. "I will never finish this experiment like this. It will take forever. I don't have the patience." Worked in his room. He was usually quiet, but there was an occasional tantrum when he would smash furniture and his equipment. Rarely he took walks in the early evening. He always kept himself covered and ignored the friendly gesture from the village people. Mr. Ho proposed that they get rid of the stranger. Mr. Ho said, "He always pays his bill plus extra. We cannot be picky when we have so many empty rooms." The stranger's very common topic of conversation among the village people. Many believed Terry Humphrey's story that the man was running from the law. One man was particularly curious about the stranger. He was the village doctor, John Cutts. He heard all about the thousands of bottles and wanted to see them. One day, he found a good reason to visit the stranger. He would ask for donation to the nurse's fund. Mrs. Ho took him to the stranger's room. Dr. Kurz knocked and entered the room. Meanwhile, Mrs. Ho waited outside. About 10 minutes later, there was a loud sound of stomping. Some laughter, then the door was quickly flung open. Dr. Kerr, with a face white with terror, ran out of the room. The eerie sound of the stranger's laughter could be heard behind him. Dr. Kerr fled from the inn and ran straight to the Reverend Buntingham. He rushed in to see the bewildered Reverend. "I'm going crazy," he exclaimed. "What are you talking about?" asked Reverend. "The stranger! I went to see him to ask for the donation. I went into his room and he was sitting in the chair with his hand in his pocket. I asked him, 'Are you working on a secret research project?' He just snapped at me. 'Yes, I've been working on it for years.' My most important notes were written on some sheets of paper. When some wind blew and they flew up the chimney, he took his hand out of his pocket and pretended to grab at the fly paper. But there was no hand in his sleeve. I asked him, 'Where are your hands?' He got up and came toward me. I was so creepy. I put his face right next to me. He lifted his arm up and I couldn't see empty sleeves coming towards my face. Next time I knew, I felt like a finger and I was thumb has pinched my nose. Now Reverend started laughing. 'Have you been drinking curse?' He asked the doctor. No, you must believe me. I even swung my arm to hit his empty sleeve. I feel like I was hitting at the air. I'm telling you the truth. He was just like a ghost."